I've been asked quite a few times lately. You've been talking about this war on child trafficking a lot lately, but what really does that have to do with leadership? Well, let me tell you, it has a ton to do with leadership, and I'm going to tell you why here in a minute.
Leaders are not born in a womb. They are forged through heat, pressure, and a whole lot of sweat. The Fire Forge Leader podcast serves the audience through exploring leadership at work, in the community, and with the family, using a practical perspective and real-life experiences from the host, Steve Baumgartner, and his guests in the Forge. Now, it's time to enter the Forge with the Fire Forged Leader.
What is up, leaders? Welcome to the Fire Forge Leader podcast. I'm Steve Baumgartner, your host and founder here, and I would like to take you on a journey of the Forge, where we're going to explore lessons learned on the front lines of leadership. Today, we're going to talk about the mission of this podcast a little bit and really realign on what we're doing here. So, in the intro, I want to call out that it states that we serve the audience by exploring leadership at work, in the community, and with the family. Then the intro goes on to talk about what is going to happen by stating it uses a practical perspective and real life experiences from your host, Steve Baumgartner, and his guest in the Forge. So let me break that down just a little bit. There's really three different areas of focus that I focus on, and it encompasses everything at work, out in the community, and with the family. However, there's a lot more application than just those three areas, right? But it fits into those three. At work, I really serve my employees as an employer by serving them as my employees. I also serve the families of my employees. I serve the communities in which my workplace resides in, and the communities that the employees themselves live in. Out in the community, I serve as, first off, as a man. Secondly, a man of faith. I serve as a friend to many. And I also serve all of you, my listeners, with my voice. Inside of my family dynamic, I serve as a husband, a father, a brother, and a son. So, how does all that really tie into all this child trafficking and sexual abuse stuff that I've been talking about? Well, let's start out with the easy one. Let's start on the home front. And I'm going to ask you a question here. How am I serving my family as a husband or as a father or a brother or son if I don't get involved in this fight? So think about that for a little bit in your own light. How are you serving your family members if you're not associated with this fight in some way? Well, I'll tell you, in my family, it's touched my family personally with this evil. One of my adult children has been affected by this directly, and I was not able to protect her at the time because I wasn't capable and because I didn't have the knowledge. And that haunts me every damn day. And now I have these little children in my home again. And I swear to you, it will never happen again. My wife also expects me to protect our family. That's my job that I have as her husband. She has handed over the reins to me as her husband to protect our family. And my family, my extended family, my brothers, my cousins, they all have children as well. And I fail them if I'm not getting involved. Out in the community, I mentioned that I'm a man. And I'm going to tell you right now that this whole war on masculinity, throw that out of the or out into the garbage. That's not what I'm talking about here today. I'm not talking about patriarchy or anything else. But what I am talking about is that I'm a man and we need to show up as good men. It's my job and every other man's job to lead in this arena as men. We need to lead in showing others how to show the dignity of people. We need to show out in society how our wives and our children should be treated. We need to set that example to everybody else. And ultimately, we need to show others that we are capable of protecting our MVPs, our most vulnerable people in society. That's our job as men, is to protect others, to protect our children, to protect everyone else's children, the elderly, the people who can't defend themselves. We also need to be leaders in faith. So I'm a faithful person and I need to lead better in this arena. And why? Why do we talk about faith in this war on children and trafficking and sexual abuse? Well, within true faith, I'm not talking about religions and I'm not talking about people, but true faith, within that, there is morality. When we lose sight of faith, generally we lose sight of morality as well. When we bring our faith forward in this fight, it can also bring that morality back to the front. And personally, how am I serving my Lord if I ignore this problem, this war on children? And as a friend to others, my friends also have children. My friends need to hear this message. They need to understand how to protect their families. And then finally, with my voice, I have this platform. I can only affect so many people in direct dealings. But with this platform, all of you listeners, you can hear this message. I can bring other people onto this podcast and I can help amplify their voices as well. And this platform ultimately can help inform more people on how to protect their most valuable assets in their lives, which is their families. At work, we serve our employees and the communities that they live in. I guarantee you, with the diversity in my day job, there are many people that have experienced or been affected by the horrors of what I've been talking about recently. And if I can help them through getting this message out, if I can help them through making other people's organizations that fight against this more visible, I am serving my my employees and my coworkers in more than just the workplace. So after looking at this topic, child trafficking, sexual abuse, all of those things, and I compare it to the mission of this podcast, I am doing exactly what I need to be doing in this moment. And I think I've answered that question more than adequately. With that being said, I do want to let you know I have a huge lineup coming to this podcast And it's going to be showing somewhere end of September, or maybe even early October. And what I'm doing is I'm really working with these people to package up a full package to get out to the audience of this show. I want to put it together as kind of a mini series of sorts on these issues of child trafficking and sexual abuse. And there's going to be topics covered, that won't be for little ears. They're going to be for um, the adults, for people who are ready to pick up this fight in some way, shape, or form. But they're going to be from I don't want to call them victims. I want to call them survivors. They're going to be survivors that I will feature, and they will talk to you about their experiences. And there's going to be some dark places that they go. And they're also going to be talking about how they got through this, how they were able to cope and heal and different things. I'm also going to be talking to some frontline warriors that fight this fight every day. They're going to talk about the things that they've seen out in the field, how they fight this disease in our society today, and they're going to give us some tips on how to protect our families from their perspective. I'm also going to be talking to technology leaders because as I've been talking to these people, it is evident to me that we need to attack on a technological front as well, social media in particular. So, we're going to talk about what technology is out there and what it can do to help us protect our families. And then we're going to wrap this all up with once that this has already happened, we're going to talk to experts out in the field of how do people heal when it's already happened? How do we, as the people around the fringe, how do we help the people who we love heal from these atrocities? So we need to go out there and we need to lead this fight. And I'm going to use that word intentionally. We need to lead this fight in any way that we can. But the reason why is because we need to be leaders at work, out in the community, and with the family. We can help out by giving our time. You know, there's a ton of kids in foster care systems or, in troubled youth programs or whatever that need good influence in their lives. We can volunteer. We can give financially. And I'll give a couple links to places that I believe in the show notes. We can pick up the battle on the front lines. We can help out by volunteering our time if we have good technology skills. There's so many ways that we can get involved. My way right now is by using my voice because people listen. So ultimately, leaders, you have come here once again to listen to this message. But listening is not enough, especially in this fight. I need to know what you're going to apply this week, this month, and this year. And remember, when you become a better leader, you become a better spouse, a better parent, a better coworker, and ultimately that person that others want to follow. So I urge you today to grow in your leadership skills and get involved in this fight. Do it for your family, for your community, and the ones you lead at work. Go out there and lead with intent, my friends. So, once again, if you appreciate the message that you heard here today, I really invite you to hit the 5-star, if you're so inclined, on the rating on whatever podcast application you're listening to, and give me a review. And also, smash that subscribe button on whatever podcasting app you're currently listening to, and continue to join us here in the Forge as we bring you lessons learned on the front lines of leadership. I already talked about our amazing guests that are coming up in this topic, but we still have so many more. One that I'm really excited about, wearing his hat today, is Nick Lavery. Amazing story, amazing man, amazing leader. With that, I wish you a good day and lead with intent.
You have just experienced the heat and pressure of the forge. Remember, words without action are meaningless. Now, after the heat of the forge, shape your thoughts, quench your brain, then put your new tools to use, adding to your leadership. Tune in next week for more lessons from the forge.